Hello, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. In this video, I'm going to talk about how often you should be doing techniques to get your manifestation. This is a really common question that people have. I'm kind of surprised that I've never done a video on this. I don't think I've done a video on my YouTube channel. I did do a really in-depth teaching on this topic in my course I do, which is a course to manifest marriage. It's linked below if you want to check it out. But yeah, how often do you do techniques? I came up with a particular equation that will tell you how often you should be doing techniques. So I'm going to talk about that in this video. Before I jump in, please know that I offer lots of self-study manifesting courses. All of the courses are linked below. I think there's like 15 or 16 courses now down there, so you can check them out in the links below. Okay, so let's dive into this. How often should you be doing techniques? Well, first of all, let's think about why are we doing techniques in the first place? Sometimes when we first come to manifesting, we think that the technique is the thing that's going to manifest for us, right? And I can see that people still have this belief that the affirmation is the thing that manifests. If you just say the affirmation enough, it's going to manifest. Techniques aren't the thing that manifests. And when you hear me say that or other people say that, here's what it means. Well, I can say what it means from my perspective. You're doing a technique to change yourself. You're doing a technique to change the way you predominantly think and feel about a situation. You're literally changing your own perspective on who you are and what is true about you and what is true about your reality. So a technique is like a training ground. It's training you to think and feel in a new way. And then it's the thinking and feeling in a new way that actually manifests the new reality. It isn't the technique itself. So it's not just saying an affirmation that creates the new reality. The affirmation, or whatever technique you're doing, is changing you. And as you change and your beliefs about the situation change and who you feel you are changes and what you believe you will have changes, as all that changes, then your reality changes to match you, the new you, right? This is the famous Neville Goddard quote, "There's no one to change but self." You're changing yourself. You're just changing yourself, the way you think, the way you feel, what you believe, and that's going to create the new reality. So when people ask, how often should I do techniques? It really depends, in my opinion, on one thing. And that one thing is, how certain are you that you are going to receive your desire? How certain are you that your manifestation is going to come? How certain are you? The reason we're looking at how certain you are that you're going to receive your desire is because your certainty is essentially telling me your belief. So if you were to put a percentage point on your certainty, how certain you are that you're going to receive your desire, what would the percentage be? Would the percentage be, and this is very similar to the teaching I gave in that course I do, would the percentage be around 75 to 100%, which means most of the time when you think about your desire, let's use a relationship as an example, most of the time when you think about this relationship, this person, being in a relationship, most of the time you feel certain it's going to work out, you feel certain it's going to happen, you feel knowing that it's going to happen. Perhaps when you're doing your techniques, you're doing imaginal acts and affirmations, you actually feel like you're in the relationship in your imagination. So 75 to 100% of the time, you're certain it's going to happen. Well, if you're certain it's going to happen that amount of time, you actually don't need to do techniques that often. And here's the thing, you don't need to do techniques that often, but you naturally will be doing techniques. And the reason for this is your subconscious mind is already impressed, as they say. You already believe in this outcome. Most of you believes in this outcome. And because most of you believes in this outcome, your belief that this is going to happen is going to manifest it. That's how manifesting works. Who you think you are, who you feel you are, and mostly who you believe you are and what you believe you will have is what manifests. So if you're really in that certainty a lot of the time, then You actually don't need to practice that often. But again, you probably will naturally be telling yourself affirmations. You'll naturally be doing inner conversations and imaginal acts. And the reason is the outcome, the end result is already very alive inside of you. It's what you think and feel is true and going to be true. So it's just naturally going on inside of you. Many of you have probably had this experience where you naturally just start telling yourself affirmations. You're not even trying to. The affirmations are just there inside of you. That's because you're impressing or have impressed your subconscious mind. And so they're just there. You know that this is true, right? So what if your belief or your certainty is about like half of the time? Half the time you believe that this relationship is going to manifest, and half the time you don't believe it, or you're unsure, or you're worried, or you're checking the 3D, or you're wondering where it is, or you're wondering if it's going to happen. You're in the uncertainty, I don't know if this is going to happen, half the time, and you're in this certainty the other half of the time. The certainty is probably going to feel like when you can do an imaginal act and feel that you're in the relationship and you experience it and it feels true. So half the time there's a yes, half the time there's a no. How often do you need to do techniques? You need to be doing techniques at least daily. And the reason is, and when I say daily, I mean you have to decide what your technique practice is. The way I teach manifesting, I'm really all for quality techniques rather than quantity. And what I mean by that is I believe that doing a 10-minute deep imaginal act where you are really imagining your person with you, you are hearing them say loving things to you, you are saying loving things back, you are deeply in the feeling state of being in this relationship. To me, that is more potent than rattling off affirmations all day that don't make you feel different. You're changing your state of being, and your state of being feels like this is happening. This is who I am. I am in this relationship. That's what you're really going for with techniques, right? And so you want to be visiting that deep state of the wish fulfilled at least daily, multiple times a day is great. So why is that your frequency? Whereas the people who are in the 75 to 100%, their frequency is like, you don't actually even have to do formal techniques. You're just going to automatically be doing it. If you're in this halfway space of believing, you're on your way to impressing your subconscious mind, but you haven't fully landed there. There's a fully landing in certainty. There is a fully landing in the knowing that your desire will be yours. The way you get to that full knowing that your desire is going to be yours is through practice. That's the only way. Now, you're going to get there faster if you're doing practices that really bring you into the full body, imaginal state of having your desire. It's going to feel like we're together. I'm a wife, I'm a husband. I talked a lot about that in my I Do course, creating that self-concept of already being a husband, already being a wife, already being a girlfriend, already being a boyfriend. You're really stepping into that identity. The more time you spend in that identity, the less your doubts are going to start to go down, and your certainty in the outcome is going to go up. This is why we practice. Now, if you're in this bottom area where you, like, most of the time don't believe that your desire is going to happen, you're mostly in doubt, you're scared about it, you feel uncertain, you feel worried, you're checking the 3D a lot, you rarely feel like it's going to happen. And you really need to be spending a lot of time practicing the state of the wish fulfilled. A lot. And the reason is you are currently saturated in the end result of not being in this relationship or not having this outcome, not having this desire. If you're constantly seeing that you don't have the thing you want, you are fully saturated in not having it. And so it takes some work to move into that position of certainty. Just the way it takes some work when you go to the gym, you don't like get the muscles overnight. You gotta go and do the work. You're training yourself, right? The more time you spend visiting the inner experience of having your desire, the faster you're going to move up that scale and into the certainty that it's going to be yours. The certainty just comes from practice. It comes from practicing the inner imaginal experience of having your desire. That's where the certainty comes from. And, I know for myself, the reason I'm an incredible manifester is because I'm able to go deep into the state of having my desire. Like, I know how to get there. I know how to close my eyes and go within and hear my beloved say the things I want to hear. Before I manifested him, I was able to do that. I'm really able to go deep into the state of the wish fulfilled. That's how I manifest. That's how I manifest. I mean, I don't know how other people manifest, but that's how I manifest. So this is the frequency. Essentially the moral of the story is the less you believe in your desire, the more you have to practice it. Yeah, the more you have to practice it because you're saturated in the state of not having it. One more thing I will say about this is where manifesting in steps comes in as well. Let's say you're way down here, you barely believe you can have your desire, and you can't even get into the state of the wish fulfilled. Again, let's say you're manifesting a relationship and you're in the experience of, I don't have it, I don't think I'm gonna have it, I'm worried about it, all of this lack experience around having a relationship. Now, if you are really saturated in that lack, sometimes imagining being in the relationship, you can't even do it. You can't even get there. It just feels way, way, way too far away. That's okay. That's where manifesting in steps comes in. When you're manifesting in steps, you go to the next tiny little step. It doesn't have to be all the way I'm married. It doesn't have to be all the way I'm in the relationship. It can be I'm loved. I'm cared for in general, just in general. This is where self-love becomes a really important practice because essentially anytime you can't get into the specific state of the wish fulfilled, if you can start doing self-love, you're going to really increase your the way you feel about yourself, the way you feel about anything that's going to come to you. You really just increase the experience of I can have my desire just with self-love, even general self-love. And so you just start small. I'm a good person. I'm important. I'm cared for. Just start here. You're not talking about marriage yet. You're not talking about the relationship yet. I'm a beautiful person. Start there. And then you start working your way up. Other people are attracted to me. People desire me. You work your way, okay? So this is my video on frequency of doing techniques. Yeah, I hope it resonated for you. Thank you so much for being here with me. I love being here with you. I'll see you soon.